ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mrs. Omoro Roda. I'm a Director of Care and Development Center and also the African Regional Coordinator of Confederation of Meningitis Organization globally. Today, I'm talking about the World Meningitis Day celebration. Every 5th of October, we commemorate or we mark the World Meningitis Day. Now, I know some of you listening to me will be wondering what again is meningitis. We've heard about Ebola, we've heard about HIV, we've heard about COVID, and so many health related issues. So, which one is meningitis? Meningitis has always been there, but just that a lot of us have not had the opportunity of knowing what it's all about. When you hear the word meningitis, simple as it sounds, it's not the way it is. Meningitis is an inflammation of the protective membrane. As a human being, we have our brain and the spinal cord. Inside the head, we have the brain, and back down, we have the spinal cord. There is this lining, something like the threads, just covering the brain and the spinal cord. Now, how meningitis occurs is that this thing that covers the brain and the spinal cord, it gets inflamed or it gets swollen as a result of infection. So when this infection affects this part of the body, this thing that is called protective membrane that covers the brain and the spinal cord, when it affects it, it leads to meningitis. Now, we may have seen people that are suffering the effect of meningitis, but because we do not have an idea of what it is, we may refer it to something else, especially for those of us in the Africa region. Now, when this meningitis of eating occur, it leaves the person with some certain symptoms that when we see them, we may think they are malaria. Such symptoms like vomiting, temperature. The person's hand might become so cold, something like that. But then when it becomes more serious or more severe, you have a situation where the person will not be able to turn his or her neck, something like this, the person may not be able to do it. And in Africa, we have a lot of things we believe in, or some of us believe in. When somebody is like that, we may refer it to something. Some parts might even think is witchcraft or is a curse on that person, not knowing is meningitis. When such thing happen, the person may not be able to turn the neck either east, west, or north or south, whichever way. The person will just not be able to do it. The neck will be stiffened. On a very severe case again, the person may have seizure, where somebody begin to like, I don't know the pigeon or the lesser word I can use. The person begin to have seizure. And in most cases, this thing is often more frequent or more prevalent with children. It is very, very common with children, though it affects anybody at any age. Meningitis is an emergency health situation. Please take note. Meningitis is an emergency health situation. Though majority of us over here in Africa may not have known it, but I bet you it is here with us. People are suffering it. People have contacted it, and out of ignorance, they attribute it to other things. Now, when a person gets meningitis, it is expected that the person must be treated within 24 to 48 hours. The person have to be treated, or else something worse than that may happen. Meningitis can kill within 48 hours. This is why we all need to know about it. Every 5th October, those of us that our organization that talks about meningitis, we take that day to amplify the awareness globally so that people will get to know about it. Because when meningitis happens to somebody, it is not something that any man should think about or pray for. Uh, then you may ask me what are some of the symptoms. A person that has meningitis, I've talked about the cold hands, I've talked about the stiffened neck, I've talked about seizure, I've talked about vomiting, just like every other sickness. But when you notice that this situation is getting more severe, or the person is having very severe headache, where the person is almost losing consciousness, please think about meningitis. As you take that person to hospital, think about meningitis. Some person might ask me, is it possible to prevent meningitis? Yes, some traits of meningitis are preventable. There are vaccines for them, but not all meningitis that are preventable. So, because of that, we all need to know the signs and symptoms. If you want to ask more questions, you can contact my organization. We'll tell you more. So that is why it is good for us to know about the signs and symptoms so that if we suspect anything close to those signs and symptoms I've talked about, please, the health facility is the best place. Take that person to the hospital, be the person a child or an adult. The person should receive medical care immediately. Meningitis is dangerous. It is very dangerous. Um, According to WHO World Health Organization, 1 out of every 4 persons that contract meningitis will end up with what we call sequelae. Sequelae, that's the side effect. What are some of those side effects? The person can go dumb, the person can go deaf, the person may be amputated, they need to cut the hand or cut the leg, or the person may be bedridden. There are so many severe sequelae that comes out from meningitis. That is why you, my dear friend listening to me, you need to know the signs and symptoms of meningitis. And like I said, meningitis is an emergency health condition, and anybody can contract it. Anybody can get meningitis, irrespective of the age, though children are most at risk, but anybody can contract meningitis. So this is what I've just come to share with us. It's World Meningitis Day, so you need to know the signs and symptoms. Now that you've known it, tell your friend, tell your neighbor, tell your enemy, tell others to know the signs and symptoms of meningitis. And if you're traveling out of the country or out of the state where you stay, try your best to see that you get meningitis vaccine, because meningitis is an emergency health condition. Thank you very much. I hope to hear from you again. I hope to hear your comments at the comment section. And I hope you also help me to share this message worldwide. Thank you and bye bye.